Get your filthy black hands off my counter before I call the cops. Blake Stone screamed it, then his hand flew across Winter's face. The crack echoed like a gunshot through Apex Bank's marble lobby. Her sunglasses shattered against the floor. Her leather bag spilled open. A first-class boarding pass tumbled out. Blood dripped from her split lip onto white marble. Behind the counter, a young teller grabbed his arm. "Blake, the security system just alerted corporate. They're watching." Blake shoved her away. "I don't care. She was trespassing." Winter touched her face, smiled through the blood. She pulled out her phone, photographed Blake's name tag. Blake laughed. "What are you gonna do? Complain?" Winter's voice came out quiet, cold. "End you. Have you ever seen someone stay calm when they should be terrified? There's always a reason." 3:45 p.m., 90 minutes before flight. Winter walked into Apex Bank wearing a charcoal cashmere sweater, black tailored pants, white leather sneakers with no logos, her natural hair pulled back in a simple bun, no jewelry except small gold studs. She carried a worn leather tote that cost more than most people's monthly rent, but you wouldn't know it by looking. The young teller at the new accounts desk looked up. Her smile vanished. Elle glanced at her coworker. "Are you sure you're in the right place? The check cashing place is on 5th Street? Winter set her bag down gently. "I have a 3:45 appointment. Corporate account opening." Elle's eyebrows shot up. She whispered to the teller beside her, just loud enough for Winter to hear. "Another one of those?" "Another what?" Winter asked calmly. Elle's face flushed. "I just mean, corporate accounts require a $100,000 minimum deposit. Do you have—" "I need to speak with the accounts manager." Elle hesitated, then picked up the phone. 30 seconds later, Blake Stone emerged from a glass office. He took one look at Winter and sighed like she'd already wasted his time. "Ma'am," he didn't extend his hand. "Corporate accounts are by appointment only." "I have an appointment, 3:45. I'm here to deposit $4.2 million and establish operating accounts for—" Blake actually laughed. He crossed his arms and blocked her path to his office. "Right, and I'm Warren Buffett." Other customers were starting to turn, watch. A well-dressed white couple near the window exchanged glances. An older black woman by the ATM shook her head, recognizing something familiar. Winter reached into her tote, pulled out a folder of business documents. "These are the incorporation papers, tax ID numbers, and—" Blake didn't even look. "Ma'am, we've had 3 scam attempts this month. People come in with fake checks, forged documents. We have protocols. I'm not scamming anyone. I'm a legitimate—" "People like you," Blake cut her off. "Always say that." The words hung in the air. "People like you." Winter's voice stayed level. "What do you mean by people like me?" Blake glanced at her sneakers, her bag, her hair. "People who clearly aren't our typical clientele." 3:52 p.m., 83 minutes left. A college-aged white woman near the corner pulled out her phone, not to film. She opened Twitter and started typing furiously. Her fingers flew across the screen. "At Apex Bank downtown ATL, manager racially profiling black woman right now. She has documents. He won't even look. This is disgusting. Hash banking while black—" She hit send. Within seconds, replies started flooding in. Winter checked her phone discreetly. The screen showed her flight details, Delta 1253, boarding 5:15 p.m. She had to leave this bank by 4:30 at the latest to make it through security. Blake noticed her checking the time. "Late for your shift somewhere?" "I have a flight to catch. If we could please proceed with—" "Then maybe you should leave." Blake's voice got louder. "We serve serious customers here." Winter opened her tote wider. The first-class boarding pass was visible now, clipped to the outside pocket. Atlanta to JFK to London, round trip. The price printed clearly at the bottom, $12,400. A customer nearby saw it, frowned, started to say something. Blake snatched the boarding pass. "This is probably stolen. Or you maxed out credit cards for one fancy trip. People do it all the time for Instagram." Winter's jaw tightened, just slightly. "That's my property. Please return it. I'm keeping this as evidence of fraud." "Evidence of what fraud, exactly?" Blake's face reddened. "Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Now." 3:58 p.m., 72 minutes left. Winter didn't move. She reached into her bag again, this time pulling out her tablet. As she did, something clipped to the case caught the light. A black American Express Centurion card, the invitation-only kind. Annual fee, $10,000. Elle saw it. Her eyes went wide. She touched Blake's arm. Sir. He shook her off. Not now, Elle. Winter's phone buzzed. A text preview lit up the screen before she could silence it. Bloomberg alert. Mills Capital Q. 3 earnings beat expectations by 23%. Another text came through. Anderson, board chair. Winter. London team confirmed 9 a.m. tomorrow. Don't be late. Winter silenced her phone, but not before Elle saw the name at the top of the screen. Her face went pale. Blake was still talking. Security! Troy! We need this woman escorted out. Troy, the security guard, walked over slowly. He was a black man in his 30s, and his face showed he really didn't want to be part of this. Sir, what's the issue? This woman is attempting to commit bank fraud. I need her removed from the premises. Troy looked at Winter, looked at Blake. Did she actually attempt any transaction? She came in here claiming to have millions to deposit. Look at her. Blake gestured at Winter's clothes, her bag, her face. Does she look like someone with that kind of money? Troy shifted uncomfortably. Sir, I don't think... That's an order, Troy. Winter finally spoke. I'd like to file a formal complaint. I need your employee ID number and the corporate compliance hotline. Blake's face twisted. You want to complain? About what? Me protecting this bank? About discrimination. Refusal of service based on race. Oh, here we go. Blake threw his hands up. The race card. You people always... He caught himself, but too late. The college girl's fingers flew across her phone again. Her thread now had 892 retweets. Local news accounts were picking it up. Winter pulled out a business card from her wallet. Clean, simple, expensive cardstock. Dr. Winter Mills, Chief Executive Officer, Mills Capital Holdings. She set it on the counter between them. Blake glanced at it, scoffed. Anyone can print a business card. Call the number. I'm not calling anything. I'm calling the police. Blake turned to Troy. Did you call them yet? Troy hesitated. Sir, now, Troy! Troy radioed it in, his voice reluctant. Dispatch, we need officers at Apex Bank downtown branch. Manager requesting trespassing removal. The dispatcher's voice crackled back. Units en route. ETA 8 minutes. Winter checked her phone. 4:06 p.m. 69 minutes until boarding. If she got arrested, she'd miss the flight. The London meeting would collapse, an $8 million acquisition would die, and the board would question everything. But if she left now, Blake would think he won. They'd all think he won. Winter made her choice. She stayed. 4:06 p.m., 69 minutes until boarding. The bank's glass doors swung open. 2 police officers walked in. Officer Wade, white, mid-40s, hand resting casually on his belt. Officer Reese, Latina, late 30s, already scanning the room with tired eyes. Blake rushed toward them. Officers, thank God you're here. This woman attempted bank fraud and became aggressive when I confronted her. Wade looked at Winter, took in her appearance, her simple clothes, the blood still visible on her lip. Then he looked at Blake. White, manager's badge, tie perfectly knotted. Ma'am, we're going to need you to step outside. Wade's tone left no room for discussion. Winter didn't move. Officer, I was physically assaulted by this manager. There are witnesses. Reese pulled out a notepad. What's your name? Dr. Winter Mills. Doctor? Wade's eyebrow raised. What kind of doctor? PhD in economics, Columbia University. And I'm also a customer being denied service and assaulted. Blake scoffed loudly. She's lying. She came in here trying to scam us with fake documents. Wade turned to Blake. What documents? She claimed to have millions to deposit. Look at her. Blake gestured at Winter like she was evidence herself. Does she look like she has that kind of money? The older black woman near the ATM spoke up, her voice sharp. I saw everything. He hit her. I saw it. Wade barely glanced at her. Ma'am, we'll take statements in a moment. The college girl spoke from the corner. My Twitter thread has 3,000 retweets now. Everyone's watching this. Reese's jaw tightened. She knew what that meant. Pressure, media, internal affairs asking questions. 4:11 p.m., 64 minutes left. The back office door opened. A woman in a navy suit emerged. Dana Cole, regional manager, 49, white, 26 years in banking. She'd been in a meeting when her phone exploded with alerts. Security breach, physical altercation, police on site. Social media firestorm. She took one look at the scene. Blake, red-faced and sweating. Winter, calm despite the blood on her face. 2 cops, customers filming on phones. Her mental calculator started running damage control scenarios. "Blake, what is happening here?" Dana's voice was ice. "Dana, thank God. This woman tried to—" "I asked what is happening. Facts only." Blake straightened. "She came in claiming to have $4.2 million to deposit. No appointment, dressed like that. I determined it was a fraud attempt and asked her to leave. She refused. She became belligerent." Dana looked at Winter. "Is this accurate?" Winter's voice stayed calm. "I had a 3:45 appointment. I presented legitimate business documents. He refused to review them. He made discriminatory comments about my appearance. Then he struck me across the face." Dana saw the split lip, the broken sunglasses on the floor, the blood drops on marble. "Blake, did you hit her?" Blake's face reddened. "She was invading my personal space. I felt threatened." Dana closed her eyes briefly. She'd been through this before. Different branch, different manager, same excuse. The lawsuit cost them $180,000. "Officers, I apologize for the confusion." Dana's professional mask clicked into place. "This appears to be a customer service issue that escalated. We'll handle it internally." Wade shook his head. "Your manager called it in as trespassing and fraud. We need to clear this." Reese looked at Winter. "Ma'am, can you prove you had an appointment?" Winter pulled out her phone, showed the calendar invite. "Apex Bank, corporate account opening, 3:45 p.m., sent 6 weeks ago, confirmed 3 times. Reese's eyes narrowed. She looked at Blake. "She had an appointment." "That could be faked," Blake insisted. Dana's phone buzzed. She glanced at it. Her face went white. A text from corporate headquarters. "Emergency. Twitter trending nationally. #Apex Bank racism. CEO wants full report now." 4:16 p.m., 59 minutes. Dana's mind raced. Option 1, side with Blake, risk the lawsuit and PR nightmare. Option 2, throw Blake under the bus, maybe contain this. She chose survival. "Ma'am, I deeply apologize for this misunderstanding." Dana's tone shifted to carefully rehearsed empathy. "Perhaps we can reschedule your appointment for another day when I look more acceptable?" Winter's voice cut like a blade. "That's not what when my blackness is less threatening?" Dana flinched. The college girl's phone was up, recording now, every word being captured. Wade stepped between them. "All right, everyone calm down. Ma'am, you can leave voluntarily, or we can write this up as trespassing and disruption." Winter looked at her phone. 4:18 p.m. 52 minutes until boarding. If they arrested her, it was over. The flight, the deal, everything. Troy, the security guard, finally spoke. "Sir, I don't think she did anything wrong." Blake spun on him. "Excuse me. I've been watching. She came in. Asked to open an account. You wouldn't help her." Troy's voice was quiet but firm. "Then you hit her." "I did not." Blake caught himself, lowered his voice. "You're fired, Troy. Effective immediately." Dana's head snapped toward Blake. "You can't fire him. That's my decision. He's refusing to follow my orders. The front door opened again. A man in an expensive suit walked in. Late 50s, silver hair, carrying a leather briefcase. He looked around, confused by the chaos. "What on earth is going on here?" His voice boomed across the lobby. Dana's face somehow went whiter. "Mr. Ford, I didn't know you were—" Rex Ford, CEO of Apex Bank. He'd been driving past, saw the police cars, decided to check. 4:22 p.m., 53 minutes. Rex took in the scene with a practiced eye. Police, blood, crying manager, woman standing calmly in the center of it all. He'd built this bank over 30 years. He knew what disaster looked like. "Someone explain, now." Blake jumped in first. "Sir, this woman attempted fraud. I stopped her. She attacked me, so I defended myself. The police are here to remove her." Rex looked at Winter's face. The blood, the calm. Something didn't add up. "Ma'am, what's your version?" Winter pulled out her business card, handed it to him. "I'm Dr. Winter Mills, CEO of Mills Capital Holdings, your 34.2% majority shareholder. I came here to open a corporate account. Your manager refused service, made racially discriminatory statements, and assaulted me." Rex looked at the card. His hand started shaking. He knew that name. Mills Capital. The quarterly board meetings. The woman who'd bought controlling interest 2 years ago but never attended in person, always sent representatives. You're Winter Mills? Yes. The lobby went silent. Blake's face drained of all color. Dana actually gasped. Rex turned slowly to Blake. His voice came out strangled. You hit our majority shareholder? Blake's mouth opened, closed, opened again. I didn't know. She didn't look like... Like what? Rex's voice dropped to deadly quiet. Blake had no answer. Winter checked her phone. 4:24 p.m., 51 minutes. She could still make it if she left right now. She looked at Rex, at Blake, at Dana, at the officers, at the customers recording everything. I'm leaving now, Winter's voice carried across the lobby. I have a flight to catch, but Mr. Ford will be having a conversation. Very soon. She bent down, picked up her shattered sunglasses, collected her scattered documents. Her split lip had stopped bleeding, but the stain remained. Wade moved to block her path. Ma'am, we still need to... Rex cut him off. Officers, thank you for responding. This was a misunderstanding. The woman is free to go. We'll handle this internally. Reese looked relieved. Wade looked frustrated, but they both nodded. Winter walked toward the door. The crowd parted. The college girl was still recording. At the threshold, Winter turned back, looked directly at Blake. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., executive boardroom. Don't be late. Then she was gone. Blake stood frozen. His career had just ended. He just didn't know how completely yet. Rex pulled out his phone, dialed corporate legal with shaking fingers. Dana sat down heavily on a customer bench. Troy, the security guard, allowed himself a small smile, and on Twitter, the hashtag kept climbing. #Apex Bank Racism was now trending number 3 nationwide. Winter pressed her face against the cold airplane window. Seat 2A, first class. She'd made it with 8 minutes to spare. Her lip throbbed under makeup. Every swallow tasted copper. Around her, business travelers sipped champagne and typed on laptops. None of them knew the woman in 2A had just gone viral. Before takeoff, she'd seen the numbers. 41,000 retweets. Blake's hand, her face impact replay. 83 missed calls. 12 from Rex Ford. She ignored them all. Winter opened her laptop. The spreadsheet she'd built since July glowed on screen. 3 months of work. 16 bank visits across Atlanta. Same woman, same money, different clothes. July 15th, power suit, sleek hair. They'd treated her like royalty. Coffee in 30 seconds. Senior banker. 12 minutes to deposit $50,000. July 22nd, jeans and nice top, casual. 18 minutes before acknowledgement, junior associate. Questions about employment, 38 minutes for the same transaction. August 3rd, work clothes, factory uniform, simple ponytail. 41 minutes waiting. Where did this money come from? Manager approval for $5,000. 16 tests total. Wait times climbed from 3 minutes to 41. Approval rates dropped from 100% to 58, all based on appearance. Yesterday was test 16. She'd wanted to see the worst. Blake delivered. Winter closed the laptop and smiled. Tomorrow, Blake would learn what mistakes cost. Rex Ford's office. 11:32 p.m., lights blazing. His tie hung loose, jacket on the floor. He looked destroyed. Around the table sat Dana Cole, CFO Kate Price, lawyer Neil Grant, and Jennifer from communications. Kate's laptop showed damage. Stock dropped 3.8%. That's $285 million in market value. Gone. Neil opened a file. Blake Stone, 6 complaints in 18 months, all from people of color, all dismissed. Everyone stared at Dana. I investigated thoroughly, she said weakly. Blake had explanations. 6 times? Neil's voice cut. Never the customers? They couldn't prove. They shouldn't have to. Rex slammed the table. Jennifer spoke quietly. CNN wants a statement. I don't care about CNN. Rex walked to the window. Is that woman really our shareholder? Kate typed fast. Mills Capital Holdings, 34.2% of Apex Bank, worth $890 million, very private. CEO listed as W. Mills. No photo, no bio, they send someone named Griffin to meetings. Who is W. Mills? Unknown, I've never met them. Neil leaned forward. So we don't know if she's real. Rex showed Winter's business card on his phone. Could be fake, Neil said. Could be real. Silence. Kate spoke. If she's real, she could remove you. She has 34.2%. Pension fund has 8.6%. That's 42.8%. She needs 51%. Anderson Family Trust has 12%. Rex's phone rang. Griffin, he answered on speaker. This is Rex Ford. Mr. Ford, emergency board meeting, tomorrow, 9 a.m., mandatory attendance. She can't. Article 7, Section 3 of your bylaws. Any shareholder over 30% can call emergency meetings with 12 hours notice. Dr. Mills is invoking that right. Neil grabbed the bylaws. Found it. His face fell. Griffin continued. Dr. Mills will present findings from a 3-month investigation into discriminatory practices. Blake Stone and Dana Cole must attend. Rex's throat closed. What investigation? Secret shopper tests, 16 visits since July, different presentations, comprehensive data. She's been testing us? Yes. Yesterday was test 16. Mr. Stone provided exactly what she needed. Pause. 9 a.m., Mr. Ford, don't be late. Line went dead. Dana whispered. Oh, God. 8:45 a.m., executive floor lobby. Blake Stone sat outside conference room A, hands shaking. 36 hours without sleep. His face was everywhere. Twitter, news, memes. His life dissected by strangers. Wife not speaking, daughter crying. Brother texted, "You're alone." Dana sat across from him, pale, rigid. Did you know who she was? Blake's voice cracked. Dana shook her head. Never seen her. But your regional manager, Rex handles Mills Capital meetings. They send Griffin. No one's met the CEO. Elevator chimed. Winter Mills stepped out. Navy suit, sleek hair, diamond earrings, Louboutin heels clicking like a countdown. The split lip was nearly invisible under makeup, but Blake saw it, because he put it there. She looked like power, like ownership. Blake stood, chair scraping. Winter walked past him like furniture. Rex appeared. Dr. Mills, I apologize. If I'd known... Winter stopped. If you'd known I was your boss, you'd have cared? What if I was just a customer? Rex had no answer. Winter checked her watch. 8:52. Everyone seated by 9 o'clock. She walked into conference room A. Blake followed on weak legs. 9 a.m. Boardroom packed. Rex at one end. Kate, Neil, Dana, and executives along the sides. Blake against the wall. Not at the table. Griffin by the door. Winter at the head. Rex's seat. She connected her tablet. Screen lit up. 16 visits. One bank, the price of prejudice. July 15th, Buckhead Branch. This suit. Winter gestured. Greeted in 30 seconds. Coffee offered. Senior banker. Deposited $50,000 in 12 minutes. Photo appeared. Winter in power suit. July 22nd. Midtown. Different clothes. Photo. Jeans and casual top. 18 minutes before acknowledgement. Junior associate. 38 minutes, same deposit. Silence. August 3rd. Downtown. Work clothes. Factory uniform. 41 minutes waiting. Questions about money source, extra ID requested, manager approval for $5,000, data table appeared, wait times, 3 minutes to 38 minutes, approval rates, 100% down to 58%, all based on appearance. Yesterday was test 16, I wanted to see the worst. Security footage played. Blake's voice. Get your filthy black hands off my counter. His hand striking, sunglasses shattering, blood, played again, slow motion. Rex covered his face. But here's what you didn't know. Corporate chart appeared. Mills Capital Holdings at the top. Lines connecting to Apex Bank. Numbers appeared beside each connection. Direct ownership, 34.2%. Additional control through trusts. 12.6%! Board seats controlled, 4 out of 9. Winter's voice cut through the silence. Total voting influence, 46.8%. Blake's ears rang. Winter stood, walked to the window. I need 51% for absolute control. She turned back. The Anderson Family Trust holds 12%. Yesterday afternoon, I had coffee with Margaret Anderson. We discussed values, responsibility, doing what's right. She paused. She watched the video of your manager striking me. Then she instructed her lawyer to vote her family's shares with Mills Capital for the next 18 months. Rex went white. Which means I now control 58.8% of this bank. The number hung like a blade. Winter returned to the table. So now you choose. 3 options, 20 minutes. Screen showed 3 words, takeover, lawsuit, reform. Next slide. Option 1, hostile takeover, I force board restructuring, remove current leadership. Install new management. Your careers end today. Cost $85 million. Timeline 90 days. Click. Option 2. Legal warfare. Personal lawsuit for assault and discrimination. Corporate lawsuit for systematic bias. Discovery exposes everything. Criminal charges against Blake Stone. Battery. Possible hate crime enhancement. Media covers every minute. $50 million in damages sought. Blake felt bile rising. Click. Option 3. Cooperative reform. Blake Stone terminated immediately for cause. Dana Cole suspended 30 days without pay. External investigation. Comprehensive anti-discrimination overhaul. New chief diversity officer. $5 million community fund. I oversee implementation. Quarterly audits. You keep your jobs if you earn them. Winter looked at Blake. You didn't just slap a customer yesterday. You slapped the person who owns this bank. Who controls your future? She turned to Rex. 20 minutes. Choose wisely. She sat down, waited. The clock ticked in silence. Blake finally understood. Winter hadn't walked in to open an account. She'd walked in to expose a system, and he'd given her everything she needed to burn it down. Rex Ford stared at the screen, 3 words burning into his vision. Takeover, lawsuit, reform, 20 minutes. Winter had given them 20 minutes. The clock on the wall showed 9:23 a.m., 3 minutes left. Kate Price was doing calculations on her laptop, numbers flying across the spreadsheet. If she executes option 1, our stock drops another 15% minimum. That's another $1 billion in market cap. Shareholders will sue us personally. Neil Grant flipped through legal precedents. Option 2? We lose. The video alone guarantees she wins assault and battery. The pattern of complaints? We lose discrimination too. $50 million is conservative. Could be double that with punitive damages. Rex looked at Blake, the man who'd caused all this. Blake sat slumped in his chair, broken, destroyed, his career already over. The only question was whether he'd leave with nothing or with criminal charges. Dana Cole's voice came out small. What about option 3? It's the only option, Neil said flatly. Everything else destroys the bank. Kate nodded. Option 3 contains the damage. We survive. Stock stabilizes. We might even recover if the reforms work. Rex checked the clock. 9:25 a.m., 1 minute left. He stood, walked to the head of the table where Winter sat, calm, patient, like she had all the time in the world. Dr. Mills, his voice was hoarse. We choose option 3, cooperative reform. Winter didn't smile, didn't react, just nodded once. Good choice, Mr. Ford. She pulled up a new document on screen. I had my legal team prepare the contract last night. 63 pages. You'll read every word before signing. Rex's shoulders sagged, relief mixed with dread. Winter's eyes moved to Blake. Mr. Stone, you're terminated effective immediately. Security will escort you out. Blake's head snapped up. Wait, can I? No. Winter's voice was ice. You can't. Griffin moved from the door, pulled out his phone, texted someone. 30 seconds later, 2 security guards appeared. Not Troy from yesterday. 2 different men, professional, efficient. Blake stood on shaking legs. Please, Dr. Mills, I have a family, a mortgage. I've been here 18 years. Winter cut him off. Did you consider my humanity yesterday when you screamed at me, when you called me filthy, when you struck me? Blake's mouth opened, closed. You made a choice, Mr. Stone. You chose to see my skin color before my credentials. You chose violence. Now you live with consequences. She turned to Rex. Mr. Ford, I want him escorted through the main lobby. Past employees, past customers. I want everyone to see accountability in action. Rex hesitated. That felt cruel. Public humiliation. Winter's eyes hardened. He humiliated me publicly, on camera, in front of 50 witnesses. This is proportional. Rex nodded to the guards. Do it, Blake's voice cracked. You can't do this. I'll sue for wrongful termination. Neil Grant spoke up. You assaulted someone on video. You're terminated for cause. You'll lose that lawsuit and pay our legal fees. I strongly suggest you don't try. The guards moved toward Blake. Wait! Blake's voice desperate now. What about unemployment? Severance? References? Winter stood, walked to where Blake was standing, looked him in the eyes. Nothing. You get nothing. You forfeited all of that when you decided assault was appropriate customer service. She stepped back. Security. Remove him. The guards took Blake by each arm. Not rough, but firm. Blake looked around the room, at Dana, who wouldn't meet his eyes, at Rex, who looked away, at Kate and Neil, who studied their papers. No one would help him. The guards walked him to the door. Blake's legs barely worked. As they reached the threshold, Winter spoke one last time. "Mr. Stone, the video of you being escorted out will probably go viral too. People will celebrate it. You'll be a cautionary tale, a meme, a symbol of what happens when racism meets consequences." She paused. "That's your legacy now." Blake's face crumpled. The guards let him out. The door closed. The room exhaled. Winter returned to her seat, pulled the contract up on screen. "Let's review the terms." She scrolled to the first section. "Immediate actions. All discrimination complaints from the past 5 years will be reinvestigated by an external firm, Lockwood Advisory Group. They'll review 89 cases. Results published internally. Victims offered settlements. Employees found culpable face consequences." Rex nodded, taking notes. "Dana Cole, suspended without pay for 30 days starting today. External investigation into why she dismissed 6 complaints against Blake Stone. If cleared, you return on probation for 12 months. Reduced authority. No complaint reviews. If not cleared, termination. Understood?" Dana's voice was barely audible. "Yes," Winter continued. "Systemic overhaul. You'll hire a chief diversity officer within 60 days. Salary $350,000 plus bonus. Same compensation level as your CFO. They report directly to the CEO, not to HR, not to operations, directly to Mr. Ford." Kate made a note. "That's a significant budget increase." "Consider it an investment in not getting sued again," Winter said coldly. Next section. Anonymous complaint hotline. Third-party managed, not internal HR. Employees need to trust the system. Current system is broken. Dana proved that. Rex winced but didn't argue. Secret shopper program, 200 tests per quarter. All demographics, all branches, results published quarterly. Branch managers will be compensated partly based on equity scores. If your branch discriminates, your bonus suffers. Winter scrolled down. Training. Mandatory unconscious bias training for all employees. 16 hours initially, 8 hours annually after that. For promoted employees, additional 24 hours of leadership training. Provider is Dr. Ramona Kingsley from Georgetown. She's the best in the field. "Cost?" Kate asked. $1.2 million first year, $400,000 annually after. Winter didn't blink. "Non-negotiable." Kate swallowed hard, nodded. "Technology solutions. New AI system flags potential bias in customer interactions. If someone fits a fraud profile but has valid ID, the system requires written justification for denial of service, automated tracking of wait times by demographics. If minority customers wait 15% longer on average, automatic investigation." Neil looked up. "That's sophisticated." "That's necessary," Winter corrected. "Implementation costs $650,000. Annual maintenance, $80,000. She scrolled to the final section. Community investment, $5 million over 3 years. Financial literacy programs in underserved communities. Micro-loans for minority-owned businesses. Free banking for nonprofits serving communities of color. Independent board administers it. I have a seat, but don't chair it." Rex did quick math in his head. This was expensive. Millions in direct costs, millions more in staff time and reorganization, but cheaper than a lawsuit, cheaper than a takeover. Winter looked at him. "Questions?" "No." Rex's voice was firm. "It's fair. It's more than fair, Mr. Ford. It's generous. I could have chosen option 1 or 2. Winter nodded to Griffin. He produced printed contracts. 63 pages, 3 copies. "Read it all," Winter instructed. "Every word. I want no disputes later." For the next 30 minutes, the room was silent except for turning pages. Rex read. Kate read. Neil read, taking notes. Highlighting sections. Asking occasional clarification questions. Winter answered each one patiently, thoroughly. At 10:38 a.m., Rex reached the final page, the signature line. He looked at Winter. "If we sign this, you'll vote your shares to support current management? If you meet the benchmarks, quarterly reviews. If you fail 2 consecutive quarters, I invoke my right to call for CEO review. Miss 4 quarters, I remove you?" Rex picked up the pen. Hand steady. He signed. Kate signed as CFO, committing the budget. Neil signed as general counsel, acknowledging legal terms. Winter signed last, her signature clean, decisive. "Congratulations, Mr. Ford. You just committed to becoming better." Rex managed a weak smile. "When do we start?" You already did. Blake's termination was step one. Winter stood, collected her tablet. I want the job posting for Chief Diversity Officer by Monday. Lockwood Advisory's investigation plan by Friday. First quarterly review is in 90 days, December 15th. I expect significant progress. She walked toward the door. Griffin opened it. Winter paused at the threshold, turned back. One more thing, press conference. Today at 2 p.m., you'll announce Blake's termination, Dana's suspension, the reform program, the community fund, everything, full transparency. Rex nodded. I'll have communications prepare. I already prepared the statement. Winter handed him a folder. Read it exactly as written. Don't edit, don't soften. The public wants accountability. Give it to them. She looked around the room one last time. Gentlemen, Miss Cole, Miss Price, we reconvene in 90 days. I expect results, not excuses, not explanations, results. Winter Mills walked out. The door closed behind her. The room sat in stunned silence. Then Kate spoke quietly. Did we just get saved or conquered? Neil looked at the contract. Yes. 2 p.m., Apex Bank headquarters, main lobby. 23 reporters, 8 cameras. Rex Ford stood at a podium. Winter Mills stood slightly behind him, silent, watching. Rex unfolded the statement Winter had written. His hands shook slightly. Yesterday, a valued customer was subjected to unconscionable treatment at our flagship branch. His voice was steady, rehearsed. Dr. Winter Mills, CEO of Mills Capital Holdings, our largest shareholder, was racially profiled and physically assaulted by one of our managers. Camera flashes exploded. This is unacceptable. It does not represent our values. It will not be tolerated. Rex paused, looked directly at the cameras. Effective immediately, branch manager Blake Stone has been terminated for cause. Regional manager Dana Cole has been suspended without pay for 30 days pending investigation. We are implementing comprehensive reforms to ensure this never happens again. A reporter shouted. Mr. Ford, why didn't your system catch this earlier? Rex glanced at Winter. She nodded slightly. Because our system was broken. We dismissed complaints without proper investigation. We allowed bias to hide behind protocol. That ends today. Another reporter. Dr. Mills, will you press criminal charges? Winter stepped to the microphone. I'm considering all legal options regarding the assault, but my focus now is systemic change, making sure the next black woman who walks into Apex Bank is treated with dignity, regardless of what she's wearing. What message does this send? Winter's voice was calm, clear. That there are consequences for racism, that silence enables oppression, that power used correctly creates justice. The room erupted with questions. Winter held up her hand. We'll provide updates quarterly. Judge us by our actions, not our words. She walked away from the podium. Rex followed. The cameras kept flashing. December 1st, conference room A. Winter sat at the head of the table. Rex, Kate, Neil, and the new interim regional manager, James Hart, filled the other seats. Dana's chair was empty. She was still suspended. Griffin stood by the door with a tablet, tracking everything. Winter pulled up the 30-day report. Lockwood Advisory findings. A chart appeared. They reviewed 89 complaints from the past 5 years. 34 were substantiated after proper reinvestigation. 12 managers implicated, 3 have been terminated, 9 are on probation. Rex took notes furiously. Settlements offered to victims. Total payout, $480,000. 31 people accepted. 3 are still considering. Kate winced at the number, but didn't object. Dana Cole's investigation. Winter's voice went cold. Lockwood found gross negligence in complaint handling. She systematically believed managers over customers. Showed clear pattern of dismissing minority complaints. Their recommendation is termination. Rex looked up. Termination? Yes. She failed in her fundamental duty. She enabled discrimination. Winter pulled up evidence. 6 complaints about Blake Stone. She never once interviewed the customers directly. Never reviewed security footage. Just took Blake's word. Neil nodded slowly. That's indefensible. Dana Cole is terminated effective immediately, Winter declared. James Hart is promoted to permanent regional manager. Salary increase, 20%. He's earned it. James looked shocked. Thank you, Dr. Mills. Winter continued. Chief Diversity Officer search. You received 86 applications. I've reviewed the top 5. Interview them next week. I want someone hired by December 20th. Rex nodded. We're moving fast. We're moving at the speed of accountability, Winter corrected. She pulled up the next slide. Secret Shopper program launched. First round, 50 tests completed. Results are mixed but improving. Numbers appeared. Average wait time for minority customers, down from 38 minutes to 14 minutes. Approval rates, up from 58% to 81%. Better, not good enough, but better. Rex allowed himself a small smile. Progress. Progress is the minimum expectation, Mr. Ford. Excellence is the goal. December 15th, quarterly review. Winter walked in carrying a leather portfolio. The room stood automatically. She'd earned that respect. Sit. She connected her tablet. 90-day results. First slide. New Chief Diversity Officer hired. Dr. Marcus. She stopped, checked her notes, corrected herself. Dr. Gerald Hayes, former executive at Bank of America. Started December 20th. His first action, listening tours, visited all 24 branches, met with 380 employees one-on-one. Rex nodded. Gerald's been excellent. His 90-day action plan is approved. Moving forward. Next slide. Technology implementation. AI bias detection system is live. First month flagged 52 potential bias incidents. 12 confirmed. Managers counseled. System is learning. Improving. Kate spoke up. The AI caught something I missed, a pattern in our mortgage approvals. Black applicants with identical credit scores to white applicants were being denied at higher rates. We've corrected it. Winter's eyebrow raised. That's exactly what the system is designed to catch. Good. Training rollout. All 800 employees completed 16-hour unconscious bias training. Post-training surveys. 79% reported it was eye-opening. 14% complained it was too political. Neil made a note. We're tracking the 14%. Good. They're the ones who need it most. Winter scrolled. Customer satisfaction scores, black customers, was 61%, now 74%. Target is 79% to match overall average. We're close. She pulled up community impact data. Community fund deployment, 1.6 million in 90 days, 89 microloans to black-owned businesses, 12 financial literacy workshops, 680 attendees, free banking for 34 nonprofits. Winter showed a photo. This is Tasha. She received a $10,000 microloan, opened a bakery in West End, hired 6 employees, all from her community. Rex smiled. I met her last week. Incredible woman. That's the impact we're creating, Winter said. Real change, real lives. Winter pulled up the final slide. Stock price was down 3.8% the day after the incident. Current status, up 6.2% from pre-incident level. Kate grinned. Investors see the reforms as competitive advantage. Media coverage went from crisis to case study. Harvard Business School is writing about our transformation. Forbes called it the fastest cultural turnaround in banking history. Neil looked pleased. We've had 3 other banks call asking for consulting on our program. Share the playbook, Winter said. Rising tide lifts all boats. She stood. You've met benchmarks, exceeded some. I'm voting my shares to support current management for another quarter. Rex exhaled relief. Winter walked toward the door, paused. But understand this. The moment you stop improving, the moment you think the work is done, I'll remove every single one of you. This isn't a project, it's a commitment, forever. She looked at each person. Don't disappoint me again. Winter Mills walked out. The door closed. Rex looked at his team. Let's get back to work. 1 year after the slap heard around the world, Apex Bank looked different now. Not the building, the people. The downtown branch where Blake Stone had struck Winter Mills had been renamed. Not after Winter. She'd refused that. Instead, it was called the Community Trust Branch, a reminder of what they'd broken and what they were rebuilding. A plaque hung in the lobby, simple brass, clear words. Let dignity guide every interaction. Let respect be our foundation. Let equality be our legacy. Blake Stone was selling insurance in a strip mall in Tennessee. His LinkedIn requests went unanswered. His name was still a punchline. A cautionary tale. The man who slapped his own boss and didn't know it. Dana Cole had moved to Oregon. Different industry, different life. She'd learned something from the experience, she said in one interview. But the 12 managers who'd faced consequences because she'd ignored their victims might disagree. Troy, the security guard who'd spoken up, was now head of security. 20% raise. Winter had personally recommended his promotion. Elle, the young teller who'd seen Winter's black Amex card and tried to warn Blake, was now in the management training program. Fast-tracked. She'd shown judgment when it mattered. Apex Bank's stock was up 18% from the incident day. Highest customer satisfaction scores in company history. 92% overall. 88% for black customers. Still working on that gap, but closing it. The changes were real, measurable, permanent. Winter Mills sat in her corner office at Mills Capital Holdings, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Atlanta, the city where everything had changed. She touched her lower lip. The scar was barely visible now, a thin line only she could see. She'd chosen not to get it removed, a reminder. A Forbes reporter had asked her last month, "Do you regret going into that bank that day?" Winter had smiled. "I regret that it was necessary, but I don't regret doing it," the reporter pressed. "You could have revealed your identity immediately, avoided the slap. Why didn't you?" Winter's answer had been simple. "Because titles shouldn't matter. Every human deserves dignity. If I'd said I'm the CEO, what would that have taught Blake? To profile more carefully. To only be racist to people without power. That's not change. That's just smarter discrimination." She'd built her career on understanding systems, economics, markets, power structures. She'd written her dissertation on banking bias. But living it, feeling Blake's hand connect with her face, that was different from studying it. The slap had hurt. Not just physically. It hurt to know that in 2025, she could walk into a bank with millions to deposit and be treated like a criminal because of her skin color. But pain had purpose. She'd used her privilege, her wealth, her position, not for revenge, for reform. "I had 3 choices," she'd told the reporter. "Violence, money, or intellect. Violence wouldn't have solved anything. Money alone wouldn't change culture. But intellect, strategy, using my shareholder position to restructure systems, that's power with purpose." The reporter had published it as a cover story, The Quiet Revolution. Winter didn't feel revolutionary. She felt like someone who'd done what was necessary. The impact spread beyond Apex Bank. 18 other banks had contacted Winter for consulting. She'd declined fees. "Just do the work," she'd said. She'd shared the entire reform playbook, 200 pages, downloaded 63,000 times. The Georgia state legislature had passed the Banking Dignity Act, required bias training for all state-chartered banks, required published diversity metrics, required external complaint review. It passed with bipartisan support, 39-17. Informally, some called it Amara's Law. Winter had corrected them. "It's not about me. It's about everyone who's been dismissed, disrespected, discriminated against. Name it after them." On social media, something unexpected happened. The hashtag shifted from anger to action. Black banking stories started trending. Thousands of people sharing their experiences, not just rage, but also solutions. Which banks were doing it right? Which needed to change? Winter's approach became a template. Stay calm, document everything, use whatever power you have, create systemic change. Young activists called it the Winter Method. She hated the name but loved the results. Law schools taught her case. Business schools analyzed her strategy. The Harvard case study was titled Strategic Patience: How One Slap Changed an Industry. But the moment that mattered most to Winter came 3 months ago. A young black woman, 26, had posted on Twitter. "Walked into Apex Bank today in my work scrubs. Was greeted in 2 minutes. Treated with respect. Opened my account in 15 minutes. Thank you, Dr. Mills. You changed something." Winter had that tweet printed and framed in her office. That was the legacy. Not headlines, not stock prices, not even the reforms. One person, treated with dignity. Because the system changed. The video image shifted. Winter Mills speaking directly to camera, not in a boardroom. In casual clothes. The same cashmere sweater from that day. She'd kept it. "If you're watching this, you've seen what happened to me. But this isn't just my story, it's yours too. How many times have you been judged before you spoke? How many times did you watch it happen to someone else and stay silent? I had resources, education, wealth, position. I used them, but you don't need what I had. You need 3 things. First, document everything. Your phone is your witness. Second, know your rights. Discrimination is illegal. Banks have regulators. File complaints in writing. Create a record. Third, don't internalize their bias. Blake's problem was Blake's, not mine. Don't carry their shame. Share this video. Not for me, for the next person. The next woman in work clothes. The next man followed in a store. The next family denied service because of an accent. Comment below with your story. Real stories create real pressure for real change. Subscribe to Beat Stories for more stories of resistance and resilience. Winter leaned forward, her voice quiet but fierce. Your voice matters. Use it.